Greetings and welcome to the fourth review in our mid-2018 video review series. The cigar that I'm going to smoke today is a Partagas Lusitania Gran Reserva, Cosecha 2007. It was released in 2013. Gone ahead and lit it. The Gran Reserva series was first released in 2009 with a Cohiba Siglo 6 Gran Reserva. The thinking is that the very best leaves are gathered for these cigars. According to Cuban Cigar website, they're aged 5 years. I've read reviews where the leaves are aged 7 years. I was reading a quote from the master blender who was responsible for the Partagas Lusitania Gran Reserva, just released in 2013, and he was saying in that quote that the leaves were aged 5 to 6 years. The thinking behind the Gran Reserva is the best way to describe them, I guess, is that they're like an amplified version of their regular production Vitola that they come out in. So, for example, if I cast my mind back to the Cohiba Siglo 6 Gran Reserva that I had with Trevor, a big thank you to you, Trevor. I guess the Cohiba Siglo 6, when the ones that I've smoked, they embody Cohiba grass, hay, honey, butter, mocha coffee. The Gran Reserva was like, best way to put it was like having a honey and citrus sponge cake with cream on top. By far the best cigar I've ever smoked. It was an amazing cigar. And likewise with this Partagas Lusitania Gran Reserva that I'm smoking today, I must thank Trevor for gifting this to me. Thank you, Trevor. And I guess it's the least I can do is to smoke and review it and share a bit of knowledge about this cigar. Now, the cold draw on it, I guess, was different for sure. It's hay, a little bit of pepper, honey or caramel sweetness there. Very different to the type of cold draw that I'm used to. And the first few puffs on this Gran Reserva, definitely a little bit, maybe more than a little bit, definitely different than Partagas Lusitanias that I've had before. I must tell you, of the double Coronas, and sadly there are only 4 left: the Lusitanias, the Gigantes, Punch double Corona, Hoya double Corona. Recently, the Vegas Urbana double, Don Alejandro, was just deleted. But out of those 4 or 5, I do have a preference for the Partagas Lusitanias. I love that sourdough, leather and earth, the spice that you get out of them, and they tend to be a bit more on the medium full in regards to strength. I guess comparing the first few puffs off the first third, and this cigar is already aged another 5 years after it came out in 2013. It had 5 or 6 year leaves in it, so yeah, it's, I guess, best way to describe it, in comparison to normal Lusitanias, It has a certain cedar woodness to it. Caramel honey sweetness is still there. So a lot of those notes that you get was getting off the cold draw. And that velvety cream I'm getting on the mouth as I draw on each puff. That velvety cream texture, I do distinctively remember that with the Cohiba Cigar 6 Gran Reserva that I smoked. I think that was last year. Again, thank you, Trevor, for allowing me to smoke this and review this today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video there, and I'm going to come back when we're in the middle third and offer some more tasting notes, see how it comes along. So I've had a chance to smoke a bit more through the cigar, and the main change as we coming close, I guess, to the middle third, is that it's picking up a little bit more those white pepper notes through the smoke. It's quite easy to retrohale, although there's a lot of smoke off each puff, a lot of quality smoke, and it might not be necessarily the type of cigar that you would retrohale because of the amount of smoke. That's too much. Well, you wouldn't retrohale it too much, but definitely a quality smoke. I just wanted to acknowledge Nino, who does a flying cigar blog. Many of you probably have heard of it. He wrote on this cigar a while back, and he quoted the Excelsensius magazine, number 113/2, 2013. And this is what that magazine had to say about this Gran Reserva. It will be limited to 5,000 individually numbered lacquered boxes at 15 cigars each. It's blended by Partagas master blender Senor Naldo Bichot under the supervision of the Tobacco Institute. The Ligero leaves, which are used for the strength, in parenthesis fortaleza, were carefully selected from San Juan in Martinez due to the rich soils of that region that give the cigar a typically earthy note, while the Seco leaves are from San Luis, famous worldwide for and unequaled in its aroma. The blending characteristics of the cigar with all its components originating from the Vuelta Arbayo makes the marker immediately recognizable for its rich and intense flavour, and there's no doubt about that, folks. This is aged 5 years and it still hasn't lost any of its rich and intense flavour. So Nino, in his blog, which I'm referencing, he adds that he met Senor Naldo Bichot, and here are some of his comments from that magazine, the Excelsensius magazine. The tobacco has 5 to 6 years of aging in different warehouses for the Seco, Volado, and Ligero, plus the wrapper. A special blend that has an exquisite aroma and all the characteristics of tobacco that have not been manufactured in Cuba for many years. After the cata, in parenthesis tasting, of the cigar, people were very pleased with its strength, aroma, and the sweetness of the cigar. To me, it's an excellent, exquisite product, and we do certainly have that honey caramel sweetness in the flavour. Working with the best selection of leaves from the Vuelta Arbayo, and to ensure the cigar comes out in divine conditions is necessary to work in percentages, not in barrels, as they don't have the same accuracy. That will ensure that each and every Lusitania you smoke today or in the future will have the same aroma, sweetness, and tobacco quality. Now, I'm assuming, of course, that Senor Bichot is talking about the Gran Reserva Lusitanias. I just love that creamy velvetness on each straw from the smoke. It's quite, you don't get that very often from a cigar, so I think that's what's really the highlight for me. You can see for yourself from each draw that exactly how much viscous smoke is coming out. It's very easy to get quality flavour through the draw. The ash is, again, great. Okay, I'm just going to leave it there and smoke down more through it, and I guess provide a summary at the end. So I'm down into the final third now, and the peppery notes have certainly settled. And I would have expected that when the cigar first came out, it would have been slightly more peppery at this point. But the main distinction of this cigar, and again, I said it before in the previously in the review when I was smoking in the first third, was the velvety cream that you get off the smoke. It's still there, and it's what really makes this cigar, to me, what it is. And I think, trying to think about why that velvety cream smoke, why you get this in the Gran Reserva, and I would put it down to, my best educated guess, to the Seiko leaves that have been picked out for it in the St. Louis region. I think that's what I think is the reason for that creamy velvety smoke. And what makes it so outstanding. I guess the other thing I wanted to say was the difference between the Gran Reserva and the simple Reservas that come out every now and then is that the Reservas have leaves that have been aged a minimum of 3 years, and the Gran Reservas a minimum of 5 years. So the first Gran Reserva that came out was a Cohiba Siglo 6 in 2009. The Monte Cristo No. 2 Gran Reserva came out in 2011. This Partagas Gran Reserva 2013. 2015, the Romeo and Julieta Wide Churchill, and just this past year, the H. Upmann Sir Winston Gran Reserva. But if you've had the opportunity to smoke the H. Upmann Gran Reserva, it'd be very interesting to see what that would taste like, because in my opinion, H. Upmann by itself, Sir Winston's that is, a seasonal cigar, they only come out every 2 or 3 years. They're already excellent as they are. It makes you wonder how they can improve on a cigar like that. This has lost none of its quality, and it's still a complete joy and pleasure to smoke. And just one of those cigars where I feel that I'm going to be nubbing it, and I'll be sad to see it go. But that's life, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you again, Trevor, for allowing me to, gifting this to me to smoke and review. You can see I'm having a hard time just putting it down. So I'll put it down for the time being, let it rest a bit more. So, I guess in my opinion, the Gran Reserva series, there's a number of special release cigars that Habanos SA releases every year. The limited edition cigars, there's regional editions. They all carry a little bit of a premium price point above the price of regular production cigars, and certainly this Gran Reserva does too. But this Gran Reserva series, again, in my opinion, is, I guess, the closest you're going to come to getting the core flavours that you get out of your favourite cigars, but in, again, as I said before, in an amplified way, in a much more improved quality way. I guess going by the Partagas Lusitanias that I've had in this past year and in the past before, look, I enjoy those already, and even with a little bit of age, I think they're fantastic as they are. But to me, it's hard to believe that you can get a Gran Reserva and get a cigar like this and smoke it, and it's going to be an improvement on your standard Partagas Lusitanias. But folks, this is what I'm getting. Again, the ash is tremendous. Easy, can get it easily over an inch each time. Doesn't want to fall off it anyway. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video review. I really enjoyed bringing these, I guess, these uncommon cigars to you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Until then, happy smoking.